everybody, it's Aaron here from Get Your Geek On, and I'm here with my guest co-host, Vince Guzman from Geek Out SA. What up, man?
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad.
Appreciate it.
I'm glad you're here. I'm finally glad you're over here on the show. We're back in studio. Frank's not dying or anything, so we're good.
I'm alive.
So he's still here. So tell us a little about your show, man.
So it's a live geeky show that comes out every Friday at 7 p.m. We talk from comics to comic book movies to technology to video games to tabletop games. If it's geeky, we talk about it.
Well, there you go. So go check out his channel in the description below. So we brought him here today for WandaVision review, as we've been doing with Robert. Robert is out for the next few weeks due to having a baby.
Well, Robert didn't have the baby. Well, maybe. I don't know. That would have been weird.
I would wonder how he did that. And then I would think, but then would that mean they have twins? Because Kristen was pretty pregnant too.
Oh, shit.
I don't know.
Well, congratulations, Robert, either way, for having your baby. Or for your wife having her baby.
Exactly. So we'll see him in a few weeks. He might come by sooner than that, but I don't think he will. I doubt it. Because he's like, unless it's like a really good episode, he's like, I'm not going to come out. And I'm like, okay.
Well, no, he'll go crazy. He'll come out.
Hopefully. So WandaVision, episode 6, the October special or the Halloween special, essentially. This will be a spoiler episode, so if you haven't seen WandaVision, go check that one out first before watching this. So we're going to give away a lot of spoilers and maybe some conspiracy theories. I don't know where you stand on a lot of that stuff. Mm-hmm. I know where I'm at in all of it. So I'm going to go with you. What did you think first of it?
I think it's starting to go where everybody wants to see it go.
Okay.
And I think people were kind of like hesitant at first. Through the first episodes because they're like, oh, well, it's like a sitcom thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think they were kind of jiving with what they were trying to do. They were pandering towards my generation that kind of grew up with all of the reruns that we had.
Exactly.
Because you could see anything from like Leave It to Beaver to
Bewitched
to
Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah, Dick Van Dyke. Even the the Brady Bunch, the Stairway.
Oh, I didn't even catch that
Stairway,
one. That's right. Okay. Yeah, like I watched all those reruns too because my mom loved all that stuff back when I was younger. So I picked up on all the references, but like you said, it's to an older generation because like my kid watched it and she's like, this is dumb. Yeah. But she's never watched Dick Van Dyke, Bewitched, and all that. So it's like, yeah, you're not into this little part as much as we are, I think. You know, and I agree with you on that. So now that it's at a place that we're all kind of on the same page now, I feel like.
Yeah.
What are you thinking of the show?
I'm digging where it's going. I was really liking where it was just because it was just kind of giving me some nostalgia back in the day. But I think this episode is really pushing it to where it's going to be going.
Okay.
Where it's going to be going. And because I have to reference everything in the past. It's just like seeing little things like the FBI agent that was also an Ant-Man.
Jimmy, yeah.
Jimmy that learned how to...
the magic trick?
The magic trick.
Yes.
That he was trying to learn from him in Ant-Man. So that was kind of cool.
I love that, like loose ends, not even loose ends, but little tidbits like that are coming up. Because I saw the same thing. I was like, did he just... And I rewound it. His card. I was like, he did learn magic.
Yeah.
So I love it. And I like that he's not incompetent, really. Like in Ant-Man, he was kind of more of, it almost felt like he was an incompetent FBI agent at times, but I knew he wasn't. He was just confused about everything because this is the superhero world and he doesn't know much on it. But now I feel like he's very competent and he's highly intelligent, obviously. He's already figured things out. So I'm excited. So in this episode, we kind of get a little back and forth of the sitcom stuff from Wanda, what's going on in her world and what's going on outside of it. And now we have Pietro, but we have X-Men Fox's version of Pietro. We don't have the one who died in Age of Ultron.
Right.
So where do you think they're going with that first? Because, I mean, obviously he knows a lot more than what he's saying.
Yeah. Well, I think what's happening here is we're getting to see a glimpse of the multiverse.
Okay.
Which is going to be expounded upon on the next Spider-Man and also the next Doctor Strange.
Right.
So they're kind of introducing that, so they're making a parallel there. So the universe, the X-Men universe, the Sony X-Men universe is coming in on that. So they're saying that it's part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right.
Now.
And see, so with that though, I mean, is he the same Pietro, you think? Or do you think it's someone else? Going with what you just said. That's why I wanted to ask that before you went too far down the hole.
Well, I'm not quite sure if it's the same one. But an interesting thing that I found behind it, do you know who played Pietro in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Aaron something, right? Wasn't it? Or one of them's Aaron.
Which was the same guy that played Kick-Ass.
Yeah, and they make the reference to Kick-Ass?
But who's Quicksilver in the, he's his friend in Kick-Ass.
Oh, he is, isn't he?
In the first one, yeah.
Oh, that's right. So both Quicksilvers were in Kick-Ass.
We're in Kick-Ass.
Oh, that's right. I can't remember the other guy's name now. I can't remember both their names off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I know one's Aaron and I can't remember the other one. But yeah, that's a good point. So because I know they make the little Kick-Ass reference, and then Wanda's like, Kick-Ass. And it's just like, and that's all I could think of. And then I'm like, now that you say that, I didn't realize both of them were in it.
Both of them were in it, but.
That's funny. See, and that's where I'm like, because Kick-Ass isn't owned by any of them, right? He's just independent?
Independent, yeah.
So that's where I was a little confused on that one. But I mean, I think it was just a cool throwaway.
Yeah, that was. When I was looking, I was like, that's so cool, because I just watched, because I didn't come to realize this until yesterday when I was watching Kick-Ass and Kick-Ass 2.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, it's the same person, same dude.
That's funny. I didn't catch that part.
Yeah.
So the one thing I am catching, and this is, I don't know if it's going to be Quicksilver in this or Pietro, a lot of throwaways to a devil and hell, which leads us to Mephisto. Because first of all, he says, unleash the demon spawns, which they are part Mephisto in the comics, both of those characters, the twins. But we've heard, hell a lot. We've heard just like references to devils and demons and stuff like that. Just throwaway lines, I feel like a little too much, that Mephisto can't be here somewhere. Right. And I'm starting to wonder if Quicksilver is Mephisto, but then I don't get why he's breaking her wall, like this whole image she has. Like if it is Mephisto, why is he, so how'd you do this? Or why'd you do that? Like, why would you question it? You would already know. So I don't get that part. And that's where I'm a little lost. And I don't get why she saw that Pietro as the dead version of him. Because for that quick second she looks, you see the bullets across his chest, and he's like a zombie. Yeah. Which to me is a nice little nod to the Marvel zombies, I feel like, a little bit. And I was like, that's cool, but I don't get why she saw it. Like, what was the point of that? I don't know. There's a lot of little references in this one, I feel like. Do you ever pay attention to the theme songs?
No.
If you listen to the theme songs, it's talking about what's going on in the show. So in this one, and I even saved it because I was like, I have to write this down. And I watched the episode like 3 times because I didn't catch all of it. So one of the lyrics is, don't try to fight the chaos. Don't question what you've done. Some days it's all confusion, easy come and easy go. What if it's all an illusion? Sit back and enjoy the show. That's 2 of the lyrics from the song, which references that this is all fake. And that's why I'm kind of like, huh. And if you listen to the last one, it was talking about visions and stuff like that. And I'm like, holy crud, this is still talking about what's going on in it. There is let me see, there's another one. Oh, here's another part of it in the lyrics. Through there may be no way of knowing who's coming by to play. And at that point, you see Pietro as playing himself. So it's like the songs actually break reality too. And so I'm like, interesting. And we've saw in the first, 5 episodes, maybe 4, I'll say 4. Vision's pretty much under her control, it feels like.
Well, he has to be. He's dead.
Right.
But just not in her world.
Exactly.
And we see that when he comes out. And when he comes out, he starts to disintegrate. Exactly. Because she can't keep him alive unless he's in there.
Exactly. And that's what I think is interesting, because now it felt like he didn't have a mind of his own for those first couple episodes. And now he's breaking it. And then there was a throwaway line at the very beginning, which, first of all, I love that they did the costumes finally from the Avengers comics. She looked like Scarlet Witch and he kind of looked like a cruddy version of Vision. But he had the one line, what do you say? Well, there were no other clothes in my closet. So it's almost like he's realizing something's not right. Mm-hmm. The reality's breaking, I think, for him now too. Like he's seen through all of this. Now, he tries to play it off because she's like confused on like what to do. And then he just tries to play it off. Like, oh, you just like the Mexican wrestlers and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But do you think that do you think he's even alive still? Or do you think there's some part of the real Vision there? Let me ask that.
I think there is. And I think this comes in to play where because he has a Mind Stone.
Right.
So Captain America went through and kind of replaced all of those stones back where they were supposed to be in the timeline. So they exist. Did the Scarlet Witch did Wanda somehow acquire that?
That's a good point.
And that's part of what was, because I think it was, didn't Thanos go into one of the stones?
In the comics, he did.
In the comics,
yeah. In the comics, he went into the Soul Stone. I think it was because he had to do something.
So what if he was imbued into the Mind Stone?
That would be interesting. See, and I didn't think about that because I was trying to figure out if that stone is real or not.
Yeah.
Because is that her illusion or is that real? And that's a good point. I mean, what's if it is bound into him now?
Because he's using that power in there for that. So who's to know?
Yeah, maybe that's why he's starting to think on his own. Maybe, the Mind Stone's starting to kick in, and he's like, "Oh, okay." So, like, she's just trying to like kickstart the Mind Stone to make him like, "Okay, you have to have your own personality. I can't be telling you what to do."
That's true. I didn't think about that. That would make perfect sense then. Why he's starting to break the reality too.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of Agnes at this point? Because we've had where she's kind of seems like she knows what's going on, but in this episode, I think we saw the real one because he unlocked her brain for a moment.
Right.
And she was going crazy. But Agnes, a lot of people think she's Agnes from the comics, who's kind of like a helper to Wanda, sometimes not. Mm-hmm. What do you think, though? Do you think it's just a regular person, or do you think there is a real connection to this comic character?
There probably is some sort of connection there. I'm not sure if they're going to like do it completely like that. Mm-hmm. But there's definitely there, and maybe it's gonna reveal itself later on.
Yeah,
because there's a ton of people in there that don't seem to belong there.
Exactly, especially now that we saw when he kind of got away from the main street, the people there are just frozen.
Yeah,
or that one girl that's just doing the one little "I'm trying to hang this up," and that was all she was doing.
There's only so much that she can do all at once, controlling all of them.
Exactly, and I was thinking that. And then my other thought was, these are characters that you don't see what they're really doing anyway. Like if he was just driving his car, you would see, oh look, they're all trick or treat, and that would be the quick sitcom scene. Right. So she doesn't need to really control them, just freeze them to look like a pass by in a scene anyway.
Right.
So that's how I also looked at it too, because I'm like, well, they're not supposed to be the main character. Like all the people in the street were moving around and doing stuff because that would be the shot. But the girl moving the little ghost arm, that's just a quick little, okay, bye. We're panning away from that, but he caught it. And then I want to know, like, that woman was actually crying. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen anyone be able to break this unless Vision touches them. So I was interested when she was able, somehow she's still in there. Mm-hmm. And that was interesting to me. And that's where I kind of go with what you were saying. She just can't control all of them. So maybe her power was weakening.
It's weakening as it goes further out.
Yeah. Exactly. So, going off out of the hex, which I'm finally glad they gave her the hex power she has in the comics. Mm-hmm. What do you think about what's going on with everyone outside? With Jimmy, with Darcy, with Haywood, and with Monica? What do you think about these characters out here in this episode?
I think we get to see more of them actually, getting out there and doing stuff. I was happy to see them, like, kind of like, well, yeah, we need to do something about this instead of just leaving and staying behind, letting whatever you're going to do happen. So. Yeah.
So I'm finally happy that we also got to see kind of Jimmy kick some ass finally. Because him and Monica took those 3 agents down like nothing. So I was happy for that. And I like how Darcy's like, what's going on?
So I'm some episodes behind. So the friend, the one that helped Wanda deliver the baby, do you think Wanda, like in her subconscious mind, she was the one that threw her out of that world because she was starting to realize the truth? Because she started telling her about what was going on, and then all of a sudden, boom, she got thrown out of that realm and ended up in God knows where, like out in the middle of nowhere.
And see, that's what happens. They're basically saying that she was breaking the reality, so Wanda threw her out. So Monica is the daughter of what was her name? The mom's, I can't remember the mom's name all of a sudden. But she's the daughter, so that's why she's older now. So it's been, say she was 10 in that roughly. So now she's like, well, she might be older because that was the 90s. So she should be in her 30s. Okay. 30s or even 40s. I mean, you could push it to that even. Because depending on her age, if she was 5, that was almost 30 years ago or so, plus the 5 years that have been gone. So she could be in her early 30s, and that would be about right. So she's that little girl. There is a connection. That's why in this episode, Haywood makes the comment, we know your connection to superheroes, essentially, and to connection to Danvers.
Danvers, yeah.
And I was like, oh, so Sword knows about it. It's obviously because her mom was involved in creating Sword. So now we know there's that connection. But I don't know it, because he says we all know it, but Jimmy and Darcy didn't seem to know anything about the connection. Mm-hmm. So I want to know, how far is that we know? Is it just in Sword? Is it public knowledge and Darcy and Jimmy just didn't know? Like, all of that I'm wondering now. Haywood doesn't seem like a good person. I want to point that out first. Do you think he's anybody else? Do you think he could be like someone for AIM, or do you think he could be a different villain maybe? Or do you think he's just an a-hole kind of director?
I don't know. We haven't been given enough information about it yet.
Yeah, it's true. We haven't. He obviously doesn't like supers, because he's made several comments, and once you catch up, he makes comments that he doesn't like them. Mm-hmm. And there's a small part of me, very small part of me, that wants him to be, what's his name? From the ones that creates the Sentinels from X-Men.
Oh, yeah.
If his real name isn't Howard, it's just like he's hiding, but it's really going to be, what's his name? Stark, right? Not Stark. Trask, yeah.
Trask.
If he's really Trask, because like when we get the scene with him in episode 4 where they're walking, they're building stuff inside that facility. Mm-hmm. But he's like, no one else has been in space. So what are y'all building? What's if he's building Sentinels? It's a stretch. It's a real stretch. But I would be like,
we got so many conspiracy theories, people.
Oh yeah, they left me alone too long.
It could be why they're trying to combine the X-Men universe with the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
And that's why I looked at it, like, it would be an easy way of like, his real name isn't Haywood, or maybe he killed the real Haywood and took on this person, like maybe he's cloaked or something, and he's really, Trask, and he's been building Sentinels waiting to kill off the supers, essentially.
I think what they're trying to do with Marvel is trying to capitalize on what the Arrowverse has done with the different crossovers and bring that in, because in the one what was it, Crisis, where it brought in like everybody, everything from the original Superman.
You gotta figure that was like their like highest rated episodes too.
I think so. I mean, that was such a good one too. I thought that was a good way to do it too. Like they did it really well. So. And I think you're right. I think they're trying to figure out how to slowly integrate X-Men and the mutants into this. So watching these episodes, right, do you have any conspiracy theories that you're like, I think this is what might happen?
I don't follow the Scarlet Witch that much.
Oh, okay. So you're kind of in the dark on all of it.
I'm a little dark. I have bits here and there that I know just from what I've known to happen in history, but I haven't followed her comics at all.
Yeah, and that's why I'm thinking he might be Trask. Like just a small part of me, because I want to know if they're going to eventually bring the guy who played the younger Magneto. I can't think of his name. If he's going to come out somehow, because he can be about her father's age, roughly. Yeah, because I mean, he's young enough, and it's like that would be a good connection. But and that's where I don't know with Pietro, because he comments, when we were what was it when these are better costumes than what mom put us in or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like does he have his own memories, or are these going into Wanda's a little bit?
They're going into Wanda's a little bit, but is she controlling that?
Exactly. And that's where I get confused, because then you get the parts where he's like, if I would have found Shangri-La, I wouldn't have thrown it away, where he's commenting that this is all fake, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it is, and he knows it is. Let me see if I don't have the line. I thought I'd saved it. But yeah, basically he comments, this is Shangri-La, and he doesn't condemn her for doing any wrong. He thinks that she's doing everything right. Like, what does he say? They all have better jobs. Their personalities are very similar, maybe a little different than what they really are. Like, he comments everything that we've all been thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And so how much control does she have over him? Because how could he say that if he was under her control? That's where I'm confused.
Because they're twins and they have like the twin.
I guess so.
Sense.
Yeah, that would make sense. I mean, the other thing is too with that, like, so we have the twins. So we see one is, I don't know if you follow them, one Speed, which is the little Tommy. He's running around. He gets the speed powers. Billy becomes Wiccan in the comics, has his mom's powers, essentially. We see both of them.
Yeah.
Even with him, it's just a little like he stops his brother.
Just like one part where he just stops, and that's where you see the power. And
yes, I was like, oh, they're showing off that he's powerful too. And if you read the comics too, I don't know if you caught it, or if you since you don't read a lot of Scarlet Witch, both of them. Well, Wiccan the little boy looks like the kid from the comic. Like, they just plucked him right out. I was like, the hair, the band. I was like, dude, you look really good. Like, you look like you could be Wiccan. And I'm kind of wondering if they're going to change his name, since his name is Wiccan. I don't know if Marvel wants to start playing with that name or not.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to go back to the outside part. So we know Haywood can see inside,
right?
Because he's tracking vision. What do you think that they're commenting that? I think Monica has her powers now, because she already said her DNA has been altered.
Right.
So now, do you think she's going to become? I think in the comics she becomes like another Captain Marvel or something. I don't follow her too much.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that's already like showing that she's getting her powers?
I think so. I think that's where they kind of say, well, the DNA has been changed already, so because I've read some stuff on talking about Wanda becoming a mutant, because she's losing some of her powers right now, and you can sense that because she wasn't able to control everybody.
Exactly.
And you come to think that she was able to control them at one point. So I don't get the whole mutant part. Is she mutating in there because she's creating this in herself?
Exactly. So this is where, I don't know if did you ever read House of M, that comic storyline?
No.
Okay. So to sum it up real quick, and for anyone who doesn't know, House of M gets triggered because of some events that happened. Her chaos magic in the comics is a heck of a lot stronger. She's reality bending powers. She can bend reality to her will. So one of the things I've noticed in that one, she's tired of the mutants and the humans fighting. So she says everyone's a mutant. So basically the human race is only like 5%. It reverses essentially. There's a lot more mutants than humans. Long story short, during House of M, the humans kind of attack and they start fighting again anyway. And they all kill. Somebody kills Vision. I can't remember who it was, but they kill him. So she's tired of the war altogether. She's like, you know what? I don't care. No more mutants. So everybody across the world loses their powers, and there's only about 192 left. That was it. So and no new mutants were being born. Nothing. She just literally turned off all the mutant gene.
Wow.
So the funny thing is, in the comics when they showed it too, she didn't care who she killed. So imagine mutants flying in the air, and then that's it. They're dead. Ones that could phase through walls, like Kitty.
Didn't they mention in that episode that if she wanted to, she could have taken out Thanos by herself?
Yeah, she could have killed Thanos, and I think the directors even commented, yeah, she could have killed him.
Yeah.
So she's powerful. That's why it's like, like you said, what's going on with her powers? Because if you're powerful enough to take down Thanos, and if you're powerful enough to mind alter the world, what's going on?
Why are you losing power for this little town?
Exactly. So here's what I'm thinking. Here's one of my theories. Well, Mephisto gets involved and helps in the comics and helps create the kids. So that's why the big running theory is it could be Mephisto, or it could be this character called Nightmare, since they're all kind of like in a sleep or like in a trance. That Nightmare's feeding off their grief, I guess, their sadness, their anger. He's feeding off all of that. So he could be controlling or helping control with Wanda. In the comics, Mephisto makes a deal with her. He gives part of his soul essentially to create the two twins, and eventually through a series of events, he basically kills them both and brings them back to himself. Mm-hmm. So that kind of helps drive her even more crazy. What I'm thinking is Mephisto is a part of this. That's gonna be her main villain. I think this is kind of like his origin too.
Okay. And
he's gonna be our main one. I'm wondering if what she's doing, because everyone that goes through that hex is getting altered, obviously, because Monica went through it, her genes got altered. What if this is the kickstart for the mutants? What if everyone in Westview is gonna somehow leave, but all of them are mutants now? Mm-hmm. And then we saw her expand at the end of this episode. We saw her expand it.
Right.
And now we took over all of S.W.O.R.D. essentially, except for Monica, Jimmy, the director, and the two people in the car with the director. They got away, we assume. But that's it. Everyone else, and no telling how many close by cities she just inherited, essentially. Yeah. What if this is how we create the mutants? What if this kicked off the mutant gene in everybody? And now we have, 30, 40,000 mutants all of a sudden. That's what I'm thinking. I wonder if that's how they're going to connect everything.
Nice.
It's a stretch, I think, a little bit, but when I
like it though.
That's what I'm liking that idea.
I like that idea. Yeah, definitely.
Because now, like you said, if we open up the multiverse and stuff come over, here's Charles Xavier. Oh, I'm a mutant, and now you're bringing Charles over from Fox, and he already has an army essentially of 40,000 people he could talk to. Mm-hmm. Or same thing, Magneto comes over, and now Magneto's like, well, they're not going to trust you. They're not going to like you. Look what they did to Wanda. And now he creates Genosha again in our universe.
Doesn't he have the House of M also, where Magneto is like the king?
Yeah, essentially. And we haven't touched, they haven't really have some throwaway lines in this to House of M. So many good
storylines that they can follow. I just hope it's not something cheesy and corny.
Right? Like, that's what I'm worried about. But that's my theory, is that maybe this is the kickstart.
Yeah.
Because that'll give you easy, at least there was 10,000 people around. And say you acquired another town of about 10,000, so you at least have 20,000 mutants right there.
Yeah.
And so I want to ask you, because since you watched the whole series, I know you're behind a little bit. Mm-hmm. She said twice about an aerospace engineer that she knows, that Monica knows. Right. She says, I'm going to text my friend, and she texts somebody that's an aerospace engineer. At the end of this episode, they're leaving, her and Jimmy, to go meet up with the aerospace engineer. Who do you think it is? There's a bunch of theories out there, but I want to know who you think.
I only want to Reed Richards.
That's who I think. I think
Reed Richards. Could it also be Doom?
I'm hoping for Doom. Secretly, I'm hoping for Victor Von Doom. I really want it to be Victor.
Yeah.
But like before he becomes Doom. This is kind of like, hey, by the way, I'm just a regular guy and blah, blah, blah. I would love for it to be Victor Von Doom.
Oh, and then they can kick off a good Fantastic Four.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not 3 crap movies of Fantastic Four. And that's who I think. I think it's going to be, I'd rather it be Victor than Reed. Because I think if it's Victor, we can almost show that he is at one point a good person.
And we see his fall from grace.
Exactly. Yeah. And then he just goes straight insane and like, screw that, I'm a dictator now. And I would love to see that. I would love to I always tell people I don't want to love Doom. I always want to hate Dr. Doom because that's just, he's a supervillain. Mm-hmm. And to me, he's the ultimate supervillain in the sense of just hate me because I'm a villain. Mm-hmm. A lot of these people, they always give the sympathy towards oh, well, I want to see Doom slowly go crazy. Maybe little nuances of just how he's a narcissistic person or something while he's, the good guy essentially, but is he really good? Is he doing this for you?
I hope they do, if they do bring him back.
It's his origin story isn't something cheesy. I hope he says, you know what, I have a friend that can maybe help me out in this, and then he gets burnt, helping Richards, find out a way to fix this whole Wanda thing, and that's how he becomes Doom. He just goes crazy from that, not just, oh hey, let's go see Wanda, and boom, Wanda makes him into Dr. Doom.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't want it to be just a little scratch like in the first film. That little scratch is oh, I'm ugly now. It's just dude, you're still a billionaire. Who cares how you look? You can just get plastic surgery. But yeah, I'm thinking it could either be Reed. I would like to be Dr. Doom, but I really don't think we'll get Dr. Doom. But I think it could be Reed.
It's going to they're going to do Reed. I think that if they're going to do it, it's going to be Reed, I think.
That's who I'm thinking. My other choice, I don't know if you read a lot of the Hulk, Amadeus Cho. He is almost as smart as Reed Richards and Tony Stark. He's up there in intelligence, but he's too young. Because in the comics, I think he's only 19 or something, or maybe a little bit younger when we first meet him. The only thing that would change is the 5 years. If he wasn't blipped, now he'd be his mid-20s.
Right.
And then you could say that Monica, before she blipped, you could say that maybe she was training him to join S.W.O.R.D. Maybe she saw he was like a child prodigy and started working with him. And now he's in his mid-20s. So now we can say, okay, well, Cho's a little bit older. But I don't know if people would even catch that reference because that only ties to the Hulk. Yeah.
Stretching, yeah.
No, he's a psychologist. The only other one that Robert was mentioning when we were talking about this is Blue Marvel. I don't know much on that character though. And he is supposed to be an aerospace engineer too, I think. Mm-hmm. But to me, that's still straight. Like, who's gonna know who that is?
I don't think so.
I feel like we need somebody that's
recognizable.
Exactly. Like, oh, you built all this up for 2 episodes, like talking about like she's waiting for this text. It's kind of weird. If it's Wonder Man,
Vision's brother supposedly, like they're related somehow, or there's some connection between him and Wonder Man.
If it's Wonder Man,
I think they're both like androids or something.
It needs to be Nathan Fillion. If it's Wonder Man, I want to see Nathan Fillion in Marvel somehow. I want to see him actually like as him, like, hey, yeah, I'm an actor, and then he can play off that he's an actor even. That'd be funny. But yeah, a lot of people are thinking Reed Richards is who it's going to be. I wish she didn't say him because she said she makes a reference that it's a male. Mm-hmm. I really wish she didn't say him because I was kind of hoping it'd be like Sue Storm,
right?
And because that's just a little obscured, but then she could be like, oh, it's above my, I just don't know it. And then as the season ends, let me go talk to my boyfriend or something, and that would lead us into Fantastic Four or something like that. That would be cool to me.
A good one.
Exactly. Not Jessica Alba. First of all, no Jessica Alba. Yeah, like we've had oh my God, Fantastic Four. And I love Silver Surfer, and that movie was crap. I hated that second one.
But the first 2 were better than the last one.
That's not saying much.
But that's not saying much, but...
No.
Well, I like the way Silver Surfer looked. I mean, I guess. Is that...
Well, you got Michael B. Jordan in the third one. That's about all they got.
I think the last one was closer to what happened in the comic books than the first 2 were.
Okay. That would make... I think so.
But I like the first 2 better than I like the last one.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't... Johnny, I don't think flew until the very end of that one, right? Like, because Michael B. Jordan is Johnny, and he's just doing like throwing little fire. I'm like, dude, no, like, I liked how Chris Evans, where he's like, oh, I accidentally flew. How do I do this? And then he's like, I got to figure it out. And I love that Johnny because that's Johnny to me. Like, I'm just a kid with superpowers now. Like, what am I going to do? And that's why him and Peter get along because they're both about the same age in the comics. So I don't know. I would love to see a good Fantastic Four, and I think I know they're saying that it's going to be a few years down the road, but this would be a nice little tie-in to Fantastic Four, and it could be leading into, like you said, we're going to get Spider-Man and Doctor Strange playing with the multiverse, so maybe we'll see Jessica Alba again as Sue, or what's his name playing Reed. Maybe they'll show glimpses of them or something, like or maybe they'll actually pull him over. I don't know. I'm curious on it, but so you're liking it so far? Do you think it's going to be some main villain like Mephisto or somebody controlling everything, or do you think Wanda's doing us all at the end of the day?
For me, it feels like Wanda's doing it all.
Okay.
Right now, for me.
Okay.
And if it's somebody else, maybe they're just... putting something. But I think for most of all, it's her controlling all of it.
Okay.
And she's slowly starting to lose her mind.
Yeah,
now
that I agree with.
That or she's slowly starting to realize this isn't real. This isn't real. I mean, she needs to come out, but she doesn't want to. I mean, I'm pretty sure she realizes it. She wants to come out, but she doesn't want to because she doesn't want to leave Vision. Yeah. She's trying really hard to keep Vision there, but it's like you said, she might be the most strongest of them all, but she doesn't know how to control the power yet, which is why when she was pregnant, she lost control. Because and then she lost control with the little girl. I think she's just slowly starting to realize and starting to let it go. Like let it go.
Let it go. Yeah. See, and that's why I think, like if she turns them all to mutants, then that'd be the perfect way to get Charles over.
Right.
Because if Charles, like, they break the multiverse and Charles comes over, he's like, I can help you, Wanda. I can teach you. Almost kind of like what he did with Jean Grey.
Right.
But now he does it with her instead, and then we get that storyline over here. Twice it failed, didn't they? Try that Phoenix movie twice.
That's what I was kind of hoping, that he was the one that was looking at the monitors that kept saying, Wanda, it's not real. Like
the radio is Jimmy. to catch you up on that. Radio is actually Jimmy because they're able to break the radio waves so they can talk to her for a second. So that's Jimmy Chow coming in. And like I said, yeah, the girl's Darcy. It's not Charles, but that's why I'm kind of hoping that she turned everybody mutants, and then like we break the multiverse and see Charles come over and, hey, I'll help you, Wanda. And if that is a real Pietro, then he could be like, well, that is your real brother in his mind, because he's like, in my universe, that is your brother. So yeah, he's real. And then we just keep it. She's like, okay.
I like that.
That would connect everything.
I like where that's going. Yeah.
That's why
that could work that way.
Like, so if you watch was it Wolverine's? No, the Days of Future Past. Okay. Pietro's in his room and he's playing the video games or whatnot. But when he leaves, he sees a little girl sitting in front of the TV watching a movie. Yeah. Or watching. Actually, I think she's watching sitcoms, and he comments like, "I guess that's Wanda, but she's younger than him." So right. How are they twins?
Yeah, that would be the only thing that would separate it in that from this point on, is that they're brother and sister. They're not going to be exact twins anymore. So, but now, the good thing is this Pietro and her are a little bit closer in age, I would think, right? Because he's got to be in his late 20s, early 30s by now, and Wanda's in the actress is in her 30s, I believe. Gotcha. So we could now say that they are twins now. And and if we get the Charles coming over, and if Quicksilver tells her like, hey, this isn't the same Wanda, but we need to keep her sane. What's if this is where Charles like messes with her mind and makes her believe that this is your twin? Yeah, he never died. Ultron never did this. And what's if he starts messing? Because let's face it, Charles is good for that, like warping people's memories.
What if he's doing it right now?
Son of a bitch. It's been Charles all along. That's who the villain is, really. It's just Charles in the background. I'd believe it. Why is that guy in the wheelchair? I had a small theory at one point. I thought it was Mr. Sinister, but I'm like, no, that kind of went out the window for me now. I'm liking the idea, though, that they all might be mutants. Robert hates the idea because he thinks it's too lazy. And I'm like, but it's perfect. It connects everything. So, guys, we're going to end it here because now we're almost as long as the episode. But, check out check out all of our reviews. Hopefully Vince will come back for some more. And definitely check out his channel in the description below. Go check out Geek Out SA, where they do a lot of fun stuff. We was there last week? Yeah, last week. So go check all that out. And guys, let us know down below what your conspiracy. I love conspiracy theories, so let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. And of course, like, comment, subscribe, and stay geeky and get your geek on, guys.